Luck's finally on my side. I smiled after the lottery win. But 2 years later, I was broke and homeless again. My name is Sandra. I'm 47, a warehouse worker, and I sleep in my car now. 2 years ago, I held a winning scratch-off worth $50,000. The gas station clerk kept saying, "Holy shit," while customers clapped. I paid off everything. Fixed my tooth that hurt for years. Put money in savings. Felt safe for the first time since my divorce. Then my sister called. Stage 3. The medical bills came like waves. Each withdrawal had a reason. Her chemo copay, her kids' food, the lawyer when her ex tried to take them. I told myself it was temporary. The money disappeared into hospital rooms and prescription bottles. Not on anything reckless. On keeping someone alive. One night, I'm brushing my teeth in a McDonald's bathroom before my warehouse shift. The winning lottery ticket is still in my wallet. This faded piece of paper that once meant everything. Here's what nobody tells you about luck. It doesn't protect you from love. Let me start with the Tuesday I won and the Thursday she died. When winning the lottery can't save the person you'd give it all to anyway, what kind of luck do you actually need? The scratch-off was nothing special. Silver and blue, $5. The kind with cherries and dollar signs that look exactly like every other ticket in the roll. I bought it at the Shell station on Riverside, same place I'd been stopping every Tuesday for 12 years. Same place where Marco behind the counter would slide it across and say, "Today's your day, Sandra." It was a joke between us. My day never came. I'd win $2 here, $5 there, just enough to buy another ticket and keep the joke alive. That Tuesday in March, I almost didn't stop. Running late for my shift at the warehouse. Check engine light on again. Last 20 in my wallet until Friday. But habits are habits. And Marco had already seen my car pull in. The usual. He was already reaching for the scratch-off roll. "Just gas today," I said, then heard myself add, "Actually, yeah, one ticket." He tore it off with a flourish, like he was presenting a prize I'd already won. "Today's your day." I scratched it right there. At the counter with a penny from the take-a-penny dish. First row, nothing. Second row, cherry, cherry, lemon. My mind was already on the highway, on whether I'd make it to work on time, on the check engine light that probably meant another 500 I didn't have. Third row, 3 sevens. I stared at it. Looked at the prize chart taped to the counter. Looked back at the ticket. 3 sevens meant Marco. He glanced over from the coffee machine. Saw my face. Came over fast. "Holy shit," he said. Then louder. "Holy shit, Sandra. Holy shit. $50,000. Not the grand prize, not retirement money, but 50,000 actual dollars." Marco was yelling for his manager. Other customers started gathering. Someone took a picture of me holding the ticket, and I looked like I'd been electrocuted. Eyes wide, mouth half open, one hand pressed to my chest like I was checking my heart was still beating. "I need to sit down," I said. Marco brought me a stool from behind the counter and a free coffee that I didn't touch. My hands were shaking too hard. The manager came out with forms, explaining about taxes, about how I'd need to go to the lottery office downtown, about how I'd actually get $35,000 after the government took their cut. 35,000 still sounded impossible. That was more than I made in a year at the warehouse. I called work from my car, told them I had an emergency. Then I called Lily at her dorm. "Mom, it's 8 in the morning. Is everything okay? I won money," I said. The words felt fake in my mouth. "On a scratch-off. $50,000. Silence. Then, "Are you serious?" The manager just verified it. "I'm going to the lottery office now." She screamed so loud I had to hold the phone away from my ear. Then, she was crying, and I was crying, and we were both laughing at the same time. She kept saying, "Oh my God, Mom. Oh my God. I can help with your loans," I said. "Get you a better meal plan. Maybe even a car." "Mom, stop. This is your money. Fix your tooth. Get the car looked at. Please, just take care of yourself first." After we hung up, I sat in the parking lot for another 10 minutes, staring at the ticket. It was so light, this little piece of paper that was about to change everything. I thought about all the Tuesdays I'd bought tickets, all the times Marco had said it was my day. I thought about the credit cards I'd been juggling since the divorce. Minimum payment to minimum payment. The tooth that had been hurting for 2 years. The calls from collection agencies I'd been dodging. I took a picture of the ticket, then another, then put it in my wallet in the spot where I usually kept my maxed-out Visa. Through the window, I could see Marco telling every customer about my win. He caught my eye and gave me a thumbs up. Today was my day. Finally, actually, impossibly my day. The lottery office smelled like government building. That mix of old carpet and copy machine toner that makes you feel like you're in trouble even when you're not. I signed 12 different forms, let them photocopy my driver's license 3 times, smiled for a photo holding an oversized check that wasn't real. The real money would come in 7 to 10 business days, direct deposit. $35,000 for $100 after taxes. Most people go crazy, the lottery official said. A woman named Denise with reading glasses on a chain. Cars, vacations, nonsense. You seem like you've got a head on your shoulders. I'd already made a list in my phone while waiting. Credit cards first. 8,000 between 3 cards, all nearly maxed. The tooth, probably 2,000 for a crown. New tires for the Corolla, 300. That still left over 24,000. More money than I'd ever had at once. I'm going to be smart about it, I told Denise. She smiled like she'd heard that before. The money hit my account on a Thursday. I sat in my car in the warehouse parking lot during lunch, refreshing my banking app over and over. Then suddenly, there it was, $35,400. The number looked wrong, too many digits. I screenshot it, then immediately worried the screenshot would somehow make the money disappear. First thing I did was pay off the Visa, then the MasterCard, then the Discover I'd opened for Lily's freshman books. 8,200 and change, gone in 3 clicks. The relief was physical, like taking off shoes that had been too tight for years. No more minimum payments. No more 24% interest. No more choosing which card to skip this month. The dentist could see me that Saturday. Dr. Kim touched the bad molar, and I nearly came out of the chair. How long has it been like this? She asked. A while. She didn't lecture me, just numbed me. Up and did the root canal, then scheduled me for the crown fitting. $2,300. I paid in full, didn't even ask about a payment plan. The receptionist looked surprised. Would you like a receipt? Yes, I said. I wanted proof of everything, evidence that I was using the money right. Lily called that weekend. Did you do anything fun yet? Mom, please tell me you bought something just for you. I got my tooth fixed. That's not fun. It's not hurting anymore. That's pretty fun. What about the rest? Savings, I said. For emergencies. She sighed. You're so practical it hurts. But practical felt good. I'd open my banking app just to look at the balance. $24,100. My emergency fund. My cushion. After years of living paycheck to 5 days before paycheck, I had room to breathe at IT work. I didn't tell anyone except Keith, my supervisor, and only because he'd noticed me smiling more. You seem different, he said. Good different. Just had some luck, I said. Little windfall. Good for you. Don't let it change you. It didn't, not really. I still brought my lunch, still worked overtime when they offered it. The only splurge was getting the Corolla's transmission serviced, preventative maintenance the mechanic had been recommending for a year. $800 to avoid a $3,000 problem later. Smart, the mechanic said. Most people wait until it breaks. Smart. That's what everyone said. Sandra's being smart. Sandra's being responsible. Sandra's not like those lottery winners you hear about. I sent Lily $1,000 for spring semester textbooks. She protested, said she could get them used, but I insisted. Let me do this, I said. It makes me happy. It did make me happy. The money wasn't changing me, but it was changing the math of my life. No more late fees. No more overdraft charges. No more lying awake calculating which bill could wait. For the first time since the divorce, I wasn't drowning. I was floating, easy, looking up at clear sky. 3 months after the win, I had $22,000 left. Enough for a year of rent if I lost my job. Enough for a medical emergency. Enough for whatever life might throw at me. You did good, Mom. Lily said during one of our calls. You took care of everything. Just being careful, I said, looking at my bank balance again. All those numbers, all that safety, sitting right there waiting for whatever came next. She closed her eyes, but I could tell she knew. Sisters know things. But she was too sick and too grateful to push, and I was too tired to lie. Better. 3,000 in savings became 2,000. 2,000 became 1. The cushion got thinner, until it wasn't a cushion at all, just a few layers of bills between us and disaster. The Methodist Hospital waiting room had the best chairs, padded, with armrests that didn't dig into your ribs if you curled upright. The security guard's name Was Marcus, worked Sunday through Thursday. Didn't care if you dozed as long as you looked like you belonged. The trick was to rotate. Methodist on weeknights. General on weekends. St. Mary's when I needed a change. Always carry a book, a worried expression, wear clean clothes. Look like someone waiting for news, not someone with nowhere else to go. That first night, April 1st. I didn't know any of this yet. I parked in the visitor lot at Methodist, grabbed my phone and charger, and walked in like I had a purpose. June was on the 3rd floor, 4th round of chemo, hooked up to machines that beeped every hour. You don't have to stay, she mumbled when I came in her room. I want to. She squeezed my hand, then drifted back into morphine sleep. At 2 a.m., the nurse suggested I get some rest in the waiting area. More comfortable than that chair. The waiting room had 3 other people. A man reading a Bible. A woman knitting something purple. A teenager with headphones, feet tucked under him. We didn't talk, didn't make eye contact. Just existed in the same fluorescent purgatory. I picked a chair in the corner, away from the TV, playing silent weather updates. Pulled my jacket over me like a blanket. The lights never turned off completely, just dimmed to a twilight that made everything gray. At 3 a.m., June woke up screaming. I ran to her room. The nurse was already there, adjusting the morphine drip. Pain spike, the nurse explained. Happens sometimes. June grabbed my hand hard enough to hurt. Don't leave. I'm not going anywhere. I stayed until 5 a.m., then went back to the waiting room to gather my things. The man with the Bible was gone. The knitting woman was asleep, purple yarn pooled in her lap. The teenager was still there, awake now, staring at nothing. In the parking lot, I sat in my car and watched the sunrise. My back hurt from the chair. My eyes felt like sand. But June was alive, still fighting, and I had a job to get to. The Planet Fitness opened at 5. I'd gotten a membership months ago, $20 a month, mostly for the treadmill I never used. Now it was my bathroom. Shower, change into work clothes, brush teeth, attempt to look human. Early workout, the desk guy asked. Trying to be better, I said. Work started at 7. I made it with 10 minutes to spare, grabbed coffee from the break room, clocked in like this was normal. Like I hadn't just spent the night in a hospital waiting room. Like I had a home to go to after my shift. Rough night, Keith asked, seeing my face. Sister's in the hospital. Shit. Anything serious? Cancer. He didn't ask anything else, just patted my shoulder and told me to take it easy today. 4 a.m. became my alarm, even though I never really slept. The Corolla's driver's seat reclined enough to doze, but not enough to dream. I'd wake up throughout the night. Cop driving by, someone walking too close, my own body cramping from the position. The routine was everything. 4 a.m. Wake up, wipe the condensation off the inside of the windshield. 4:15. Drive to Planet Fitness. Park near, but not too near the entrance. 4:30. Inside with my shower caddy hidden in a gym bag. Looking like an early morning regular. The showers were the best part of the membership. Hot water, real pressure. Those few minutes where I could pretend everything was normal. I had a system, shampoo and soap from the dollar store, travel size to fit in the caddy. Quick dry towel that wouldn't smell if stored damp. Deodorant, toothbrush, face wash. All the things that kept me looking employed and housed. You're dedicated, said Terry, the morning desk worker, after 2 weeks of seeing me here every day. Consistency is key, I said, which wasn't a lie. After showering, makeup in the bathroom mirror, nothing fancy, just enough to hide the exhaustion. Work uniform from the sealed plastic bag in my gym bag, wrinkle release spray to make it look fresh. Hair in a ponytail, always, because it was easier to maintain. McDonald's bathroom for teeth brushing when Planet Fitness got suspicious. The key was spreading out the routine, not wearing out any one place's welcome. Gas station bathrooms for emergency touch-ups. Starbucks for the Wi-Fi and phone charging, buying the smallest coffee to earn my spot. Grande Pike. The barista started asking when she saw me coming. Just a tall today, I'd say, saving 50 cents. Work clothes lived in a suitcase in the trunk, organized by day. Monday's uniform on top, Fridays on the bottom. Dirty clothes. In a mesh bag, laundromat run every Sunday. $3 for wash, $2 for dry, $5 to feel clean for another week. The hardest part was my hair. Sleeping in a car made it wild, pressed flat on one side, sticking up on the other. Dry? Shampoo helped. Baseball cap on the worst days, though Keith didn't like us wearing hats in the warehouse. New look, he asked one morning when I showed up in the cap. Bad hair day. Everything okay? You seem stretched thin lately. Just tired. June had a rough night. It wasn't a lie. June always had rough nights now. I just didn't mention I was sleeping in hospital parking lots to be close when she needed me. By 6:30, I'd be at the warehouse, eating breakfast in my car. Granola bars bought in bulk. Bananas that turned brown too fast in the heat. Watching YouTube videos about van life and car camping. Taking notes on how to black out windows, where to find free showers, how to stay warm without running the engine. 7 a.m. Clock in, smile, act normal. 8 hours of loading trucks. Grateful for the physical exhaustion that might let me sleep better that night. The warehouse had a rhythm. Trucks arrived at 7:30. First wave of loading until 10. Break until 10:15. Second wave until lunch at 12:30. Afternoon push until 3. Last hour for cleanup and prep. Every day the same, which was good. Routine meant I could work on autopilot, save my energy for staying invisible. Keith started noticing things by week 3. I'd fallen asleep standing. Up during break, leaning against the vending machine. Woke up when my knees buckled. Sandra. My office. I thought I was getting fired. Sat in his cluttered office, surrounded by safety posters and shipping schedules, trying to think of how I'd survive without the $14.50 an hour. You're living in your car, he said. Not a question. Your sister's sick. I know that. But Sandra, you can't keep this up. You look like death. I'm fine. You're not. He opened his desk drawer, pulled out a sandwich wrapped in foil. My wife made extra. She's been making extra for a week now. Keith, just take the sandwich. After that, there were always extras. Turkey and Swiss on Monday. Ham and cheddar Tuesday. PB&J on Fridays, like his wife knew I needed comfort food before the weekend. Keith never said anything else about it, just left them on my workstation when I clocked in. The work itself became harder as the exhaustion accumulated. Boxes felt heavier. My scanner gun slipped from tired fingers. I mixed up shipping labels. Sent a pallet to Cleveland that should have gone to Columbus. You sure you're okay? Asked Maria, who worked the station next to mine. You're moving different. Just sore. Sleeping weird. Tell me about it. My mattress is shit. I wanted to laugh. Or cry. A bad mattress sounded like luxury. Lunch was in. My car always. 30 minutes of precious solitude. I'd eat Keith's sandwich, watch videos on my phone using the warehouse Wi-Fi. Car living tips. How to make it through homelessness. Where to park safely. The comment sections were full of people like me, all of us pretending to be researching for an article or a book. Not living at point one video taught me about reflective window covers, how they kept the car cooler and gave privacy. Another showed how to make blackout curtains from black poster board. I took notes in my phone, planning improvements for my mobile home. Where do you go for lunch? Maria asked one day. You never eat in the break room. Need quiet time. Introvert. Stuff. I get that. This place can be a lot. 3 o'clock meant the final push. Loading the last trucks. Everyone tired and rushing. This was when accidents happened. Jorge dropped a box on his foot, needed 5 stitches. Ashley threw out her back lifting wrong. I moved careful, deliberate, couldn't afford an injury, couldn't afford the attention. Good work today, Keith said every evening when I clocked out. Started saying it after he figured out my situation, like he was telling me to keep going. 5 p.m., back to the car. Check the wallet, $14 until Friday. Gas tank at a quarter full. June needed antibiotics that insurance wouldn't cover. $60 at the pharmacy. Down to nothing, but she needed them more than I needed gas. Every parking lot had rules. Methodist Hospital, park in visitor section B after 8 p.m., moved by 6 a.m. before day shift arrived. Security swept at midnight and 4 a.m., but Marcus worked Sunday through Thursday and didn't care as long as you weren't obvious. June called on a Wednesday night in August. I was making dinner, nothing special, pasta with Jared sauce, when her name lit up my phone. We talked maybe once a month, usually about her kids or my work drama. Sisters who loved each other but had built separate lives. Hey, I said, phone tucked between ear and shoulder while I stirred. What's up? I need to tell you something. Her voice was weird, too steady, like she was reading from a script that I turned off the stove. What's wrong? I have cancer. Breast cancer. Stage 3. The words didn't make sense. June was 44. She ran half marathons. She posted pictures of green smoothies on Facebook with hashtags about clean living. When? How did you find out? 2 weeks ago. I wanted to wait until I knew more before calling. The oncologist says it's aggressive but treatable. Chemo starts Monday. I sat down on my kitchen floor, back against the cabinets. Okay. What do you need? Nothing. I mean, everything, but nothing. I just needed to tell you. I'm coming down this weekend. You don't have to. I'm coming. She lived 2 hours south, in a rental house she'd moved to after the divorce. When I got there Saturday morning, she looked exactly the same, ponytail, running shorts, like she might head out for a jog any minute. It was only when she hugged me that I felt how tight she was holding on. The kids don't know yet, she said. I don't know how to tell them. Emma was 12, David 10. They were at their dad's for the weekend, part of the custody arrangement that gave June every other weekend and Wednesdays. What about Ron? I asked. Her ex-husband was a lot of things, but he was still their father. He'll use it against me. She was making coffee, hands busy so she didn't have to look at me. He's been wanting full custody since the divorce. If he finds out I'm sick, he can't just take them because you have cancer. He can try. He has that lawyer, the expensive one. I barely afforded mine for the divorce. We spent the weekend making plans. Treatment schedules, doctor's appointments, how to tell the kids. I wrote her a check for $5,000 while she was in the bathroom. Absolutely not, she said when she found it on her kitchen counter. It's not a discussion. Sandra, no. That's your lottery money. Your safety net. You're my sister. That doesn't mean, June. Please, just take it. She cried then, ugly crying that made her nose run. I'll pay you back. Don't be stupid. The first chemo treatment was brutal. I drove up to take her, held the pink basin while she threw up, watched her hair start falling out in clumps 2 weeks later. The bills started immediately. Insurance covered 80%, but 20% of cancer treatment might as well be $1 million. The anti-nausea medication alone was $300 a month. By October, Ron had found out. Someone saw June at the cancer center. Word got around. He filed for emergency custody modification the next week. He says I can't provide proper care while undergoing treatment. June read from the legal papers, voice flat, that the children's welfare requires a stable environment. The lawyer wanted $3,000 just to respond to the filing. Another $5,000 for the full custody fight. I transferred $8,000 from my savings without telling her, called the lawyer directly. We can fight this, the lawyer said, but it won't be cheap or quick. June was down to 110 pounds. By November, the chemo was working, the tumor was shrinking, but it was killing her in other ways. She couldn't work, couldn't run, could barely get Emma and David ready for school on her days. I'm going to lose them, she said during one of the bad nights, when the morphine made her honest. I'm going to die and he's going to take them, and they won't even remember me fighting for them. You're not going to die, I said, holding her hand while she shook. And you're not going to lose them. I wrote another check for $1,000 for the next round of lawyer fees. My savings was down to $10,000. Still enough, I told myself. Still a cushion. June needed it more than I needed the security. I'll pay you back, she said every time, getting harder to understand as the treatments wore her down. Stop saying that, I told her, smoothing what was left of her hair. Just focus on getting better. But she wasn't getting better, not really. The cancer was responding, but June was disappearing. And the bills kept coming, relentless as the cancer itself, eating through my lottery money one emergency at a time. The Corolla's transmission died on a Tuesday morning in December, 5 miles from work. No warning, just a grinding sound like. The car was eating itself, then nothing. Coast to the shoulder, hazards on, 43 degrees outside, and me in my warehouse uniform with no coat. The tow truck driver said what I already knew. Transmission's shot. You're looking at $2,800, maybe $3,000. But I just had it serviced. Servicing doesn't stop age. How many miles? 200,000. He whistled low. You got your money's worth. $3,000. My savings was at $10,000 after June's lawyer fees. The car was only worth $4,000 on a good day. But I needed it for work, for the hour drive to June's treatments, for everything. Can you do $2,500? I asked the mechanic. That's what the friends and family discount already applied. I paid it, down to $7,500. In savings. Still okay, I told myself. Still more than most people had. June called that night. The kids' insurance cards got declined. What do you mean declined? Ron removed them from his policy. Says if I want coverage during my custody time, I need to provide it. Adding them to her insurance was $400 a month she didn't have. I set up an automatic transfer from my account. Temporary, just until she was back on her feet. Then the December heating bill hit her house. $340. Her disability check was late. The pharmacy wouldn't refill her anti-nausea medication without payment up front. I can't, she said when I offered to cover it. You've already done too much. Just take the money. June, I'm keeping track of every penny. I promise I'll pay it back. Stop. But she didn't stop keeping track. Had a notebook where she wrote down every dollar I gave her. Like keeping score would somehow make it better, would somehow mean she wasn't drowning and taking me with her. The custody hearings started in January. Ron's lawyer argued June couldn't provide stable care while in treatment. Our lawyer argued discrimination against a disabled parent. The judge ordered a custody evaluation. Another $2,000. I can't ask you for that, June said. You're not asking. My savings hit $5,000. Then $4,000. Each withdrawal felt like losing blood, but what was the alternative? Let her lose her kids? Let her skip medication? Let her freeze in her house? Keith at work noticed me picking up every overtime. Shift available. Everything okay? He asked. You're here more than I am lately. Just need the money. I thought you had that windfall. Family stuff. I said, and he didn't push. March came with impossible math. My rent was due on the 1st, $1,200. June's mortgage was past due, $1,800. My savings sat at $3,200. The numbers wouldn't work no matter how I arranged them. I called the landlord on February 28th. I need to give notice, I said. 30 days. Everything okay, Sandra? You've been here 6 years. Family emergency. I need to relocate. It wasn't really a lie. I was relocating. To my car. Temporarily, I told myself. Just until June's disability came through, until the custody was settled, until she finished treatment. I started packing that night. Kitchen stuff into boxes for storage. Clothes sorted into keep and donate. Keep pile got sorted again into car life clothes and storage clothes. Amazing how little you actually need when you think about it. 5 work uniforms. 3 regular outfits. 1 warm jacket. Toiletries in a small bag. Lily called while I was packing. How's Aunt June? Hanging in there. Mom, you sound tired. Just busy with work. Are you taking care of yourself? Of course. I lied, wrapping dishes in newspaper. How's school? I didn't tell June about the apartment. She had enough guilt already, enough weight. When she asked why I was at her house so much, I said my place was being fumigated, then renovated. Then I just stopped explaining and she stopped asking. The storage unit cost $80 a month. I put everything in there except what fit in the Corolla. Sleeping bag in the trunk. Clothes in a suitcase. Toiletries in a small shower caddy. Phone charger, laptop for watching videos, extra phone battery pack. The basics of living distilled down to what fit in a sedan. The last night in my apartment, I walked through the empty rooms. 6 years of life here. The corner where I'd put up Christmas trees. The bathroom where I'd cried after the divorce papers were signed. The kitchen where I'd gotten the call about June's diagnosis. It's temporary, I said out loud to the empty space. April 1st came. I drove to work from the hospital parking lot where I'd slept, watching June through the night. Used the Planet Fitness shower. Showed up to my shift like nothing had changed. The money I saved on rent went straight to June. Her medications, her mortgage, her utilities. The custody evaluator who would decide if she could keep her kids. Every dollar had a purpose now. Every dollar meant something. Where are you staying? June asked one night, morphine making her observant. You're always here. Close by, I said. Don't worry about it. Sandra, rest. You need to rest. General Hospital was weekends only. Different security company, younger guards who actually checked. Park near the emergency room entrance where cars came and went all night. Keep the hazards on for 10 minutes when you first arrived, like you're waiting for someone. Walmart was safe but bright. Those LED lights made sleep impossible, but the lot was full of RVs and campers, so one more car didn't stand out. Stay toward the back, never the same spot twice. Move every few hours if the security truck started circling. The library closed at 8, but the lot stayed open. Dark, quiet, but cops checked it around 11. Good for early evening naps, not overnight. Same with the church lots. Peaceful but patrolled. Truck stops were gold if you could stand the diesel fumes. 24-hour bathrooms, no one asking questions. But the nearest one was 40 minutes out. Too much gas to be practical. I mapped it all in my head. Tuesday, Methodist. Wednesday, Walmart. Thursday, Methodist. Friday, General. Weekend rotation. Between Walmart and a rest stop on Route 9. Never the same pattern 2 weeks in a row. You can't park here, a security guard said one night at a shopping plaza I tried. Young kid, nervous, probably new. Just waiting for my husband. He works maintenance. Lot closes at midnight. 10 more minutes. Sorry, ma'am. Rules. The key. Was looking temporary. Phone charger visible, like you're waiting for a call. Cup of coffee in the holder, still steaming if possible. Never put up window shades until after midnight. Keep the front seat clear, back seat full but organized, like you're traveling, not living. Some nights I drive just to drive. 2 a.m., roads empty, heat on low to save gas. NPR playing quiet stories about places I'd never see. Those were the loneliest hours, when the car felt less like shelter and more like a cage. Where do you live? June asked one evening when I was visiting. The morphine made her direct. Around. Sandra. Where? It doesn't matter. It does. You gave up your apartment for me. I gave it up because I wanted to. Now rest. But she knew. Started crying. Weak tears that barely wet her cheeks. I ruined your life. You saved it, I said. Gave me something that mattered more than rent. The hospital lots became home in a way. I knew which spaces had shade in the morning, which were near enough to the entrance for bathroom runs, but far enough to avoid attention. Knew that Tuesday night meant the food truck until 10, that Thursday the gift shop throughout Flowers Eye. Could take for June. One night, parked at Methodist, I saw another car with fogged windows, someone else's makeshift bedroom. We made eye contact in the morning, both heading to the bathroom with our little bags. No words, just a nod. Recognition. We were everywhere. Us car people. Invisible until you knew what to look for. By May, June weighed 91 pounds. I knew because they weighed her every visit, announced it like weather. 91 today, down from 93. Her arms looked like sticks wrapped in paper. Her eyes had sunk deep, surrounded by purple that looked like bruises. When she smiled, which was rare now, her face was all skull. The treatment's working, the oncologist said. The tumors are shrinking. But she's shrinking faster. I wanted to say. Didn't. The custody evaluation happened while June was admitted for a reaction to the chemo. Ron's lawyer argued she couldn't even care for herself. How could she care for children? Our lawyer countered that temporary medical treatment didn't make someone an unfit parent. The evaluator, a woman with careful hair and a neutral expression, interviewed June in her hospital bed. How would you manage school pickups in your current condition? I have support. My sister, but on your own. If your sister wasn't available. June tried to sit up straighter, her arms shaking with the effort. I would manage. I always have. 2 days later, the preliminary recommendation came. Temporary custody to Ron, revisited in 6 months when treatment was complete. June didn't cry. Didn't have enough left in her for tears. Just stared at the ceiling, tiles and said, 6 months. We'll appeal, I said. With what money? The lawyer wanted another $5,000 for the appeal. I had $800 left in savings. Total. Keith had started slipping 20s in with the sandwiches, but it wasn't enough. Would never be enough. I'll figure it out, I said. Stop. Sandra, stop. You've given everything. You're living in your goddamn car. You don't know that. I'm dying, not stupid. She turned to look at me, her neck so thin I could see every tendon. I see the parking stickers on your dashboard. The pillow in your back seat. The way you show up at 4 a.m. looking like you never left. It's temporary. So is this, she said, gesturing at herself. Temporary until it's not. The kids came for their last visit before the custody change. Emma, 12, trying to be strong. David, 10, confused and angry. Why can't we stay with you? David asked. Because I'm sick, baby. But it's just for a little while. Dad says you might not get better. June's face crumpled for a second, then reformed. Dad's wrong. I'm going to get better, and then you're coming home. After they left, she turned her face to the wall and didn't speak for 2 days. The morphine dose kept increasing. She'd have moments of clarity, then long stretches of confusion. Called me mom once. Asked for water while holding a full cup. Tried to get out of bed to go to work, forgetting she hadn't worked in months. I need you to promise something, she said during a clear moment. Anything. Don't let them forget me. The kids. If I don't, when I'm gone, don't let them forget. You're not going anywhere. Sandra, please. I promise. But you're going to be fine. She squeezed my hand with what little strength she had. Liar. The lottery ticket lived in the plastic window of my wallet where driver's licenses usually go. Faded now, the silver scratched off coating flaking at the edges, those 3 sevens barely visible. Sometimes at night, parked under a streetlight, I'd pull it out and hold it up to the glow point $50,000. That's what those 3 sevens had meant. Freedom, security, peace of mind. Now I had $86 to my name and a quarter tank of gas that needed to last until Friday. Ticket had become something else. Not a reminder of winning, but of having. Of being someone who once had choices. When the hospital parking lot felt too small, when my back screamed from another night in the driver's seat, I'd look at those sevens and remember the weight lifting off my shoulders that morning at the Shell station. Why do you keep it? June asked one night. She was lucid, the pain managed for once. Reminds me things can change. Things did change. Just not how you expected. I tucked the ticket back in my wallet. Maybe I'll frame it someday. When this is over. When this is over, she repeated, like she was trying the words on for size. Marco had called it my golden ticket that day. Other customers had taken pictures. For about a week, I was the feel-good story everyone wanted to hear. Local woman wins big. Dreams do come true. They didn't write follow-up articles. Nobody wanted to read local woman loses everything trying to save sister. Some nights I did the math. If I hadn't won, June would have what? Died faster? Suffered more? Lost the kids sooner? The money had bought time, if nothing else. Months of treatment. Lawyers who tried even if they failed. Medications that eased the pain even if they couldn't stop it. I'm grateful, June said, following my thoughts the way sisters do. I need you to know that. Even if it all goes to shit, I'm grateful you tried. Stop talking like you're writing a goodbye letter. Someone has to be realistic. The ticket was my talisman against that realism. Proof that unlikely things happened. That sometimes the universe said yes. That Tuesday mornings could change everything. Even if everything changed. Could mean losing it all. The warehouse bathroom had yellow walls and a broken lock on the middle stall. I sat in the left one, the one with Brad loves Sarah forever carved into the door, staring at my phone screen. June's neighbor's name glowing there. Missed call. Voicemail that I knew before I listened. You always know. Sandra, it's Pat. From next. Door to June. You need to call me back. Or just come. I'm so sorry. 2:34 p.m. That's when she died. I was scanning packages, thinking about whether I had enough gas to make it to Friday, and June was dying. Alone. Her kids with Ron, me at work, machines probably beeping while nurses did CPR they knew wouldn't work. I sat in that yellow bathroom. For 20 minutes. Couldn't cry. Couldn't move. Just stared at the graffiti on the door. Below Brad and Sarah's eternal love, someone had written in black Sharpie, "This too shall pass." Below that, in different handwriting, "But it might kill. You first." Keith found me there. Sandra? You okay? You've been gone a while. My sister died. The words came out flat, like I was reading a shipping label. Package delivered. Contents fragile. Handle with care. Jesus. Sandra. Go. Just go. I need to clock out. I'll handle it. Go. The drive to the hospital was muscle memory. Same route. I'd driven hundreds of times. But June wasn't in room 314 anymore. She was in the basement, in the morgue, waiting for me to identify her body like I might mistake someone else's 91 pounds of cancer and bones for my sister. You're looking better, Keith said when I came back to work. More rested. Found a better place to stay. He didn't ask where. Just nodded and handed me that day's sandwich. His wife still made extras, even though I'd told him about the shelter. Meals. She says it's habit now, he explained. The Corolla sat in the shelter parking lot, accumulating leaves. I still kept clothes in the trunk, emergency supplies in the glove box. Just in case. Marie said everyone did that at first. Took me a year to stop keeping a go bag, she said. Some part of you never fully unpacks. I visited June's kids' school every Friday. Never approached. Just watched them exist in the world without her. Emma had June's walk, that determined stride. David had her laugh, though I heard it less and less. You could petition for visitation, the legal aid lawyer said. As their aunt, you have standing. With what money? We work pro bono. But it's a long process. Long was relative. June thought 6 months was long. Now 6 months felt like nothing. Like a breath. Like the space between heartbeats. The studio apartment was 400 square feet on the 3rd floor of a building. That should have been condemned. But it had a door that locked, windows that opened, hot water that worked if you didn't mind waiting. For $50 a month, utilities included. I could afford it if I worked overtime. It's tiny, the landlord warned. Like I might be disappointed. It's perfect, I said, and meant it, moving in took one trip. Clothes from the car. June's ashes. The few things from storage I could fit. The rest stayed locked away, $40 a month I'd deal with later. Lily helped me move without knowing she was helping. Called while I was carrying boxes, kept me company up 3 flights of stairs. How's the new place? She asked. Smaller, but nice. Simpler. And cheaper. Much cheaper. Good. You deserve some breathing room, Mom. Breathing room. If she knew how literal that had been, how many nights I'd fogged car windows with my breath, how many mornings I'd seen it cloud in the cold. I'm proud of you, she said, for taking care of Aunt June, for surviving it. Just did what anyone would do. No, most people wouldn't. Couldn't. After we hung up, I sat on the floor of my empty apartment and cried. First time since June died. Real, ugly crying that echoed off bare walls. For June. For her kids. For the months in the car. For the lottery ticket that was supposed to fix everything. For the woman I was before any of this happened. The warehouse job stayed the same. $14.50 an hour. Keith still brought sandwiches sometimes. Extras that weren't extra. I took them, grateful for the kindness more than the food. You doing okay? He asked one day. Really okay? Getting there. Good. You deserve it. Deserve had nothing to do with it. June deserved to live. Her kids deserved their mother. I deserved neither the lottery win nor the loss. Things just happened, and you survived them or you didn't. I kept both lottery tickets in my wallet still. The winner and the loser. Pressed together like prayer hands. Like they were having a conversation about chance and choice and what we do. With both. You should frame those, Lily said during a visit, seeing them on my counter. Maybe someday. But they belonged in my wallet. Reminders. Talismans. Evidence that I'd been both lucky and unlucky and survived both. Marco was back at the Shell station. Same shift, same smile, same scratch-off game in the case. I stopped for gas on a Tuesday. Not because I needed it, but because it felt like closing a loop. Sandra. Long time. How's everything? Different, I said. But good. You look different. Good different. He studied my face. More? I don't know. Settled. Settled. After sleeping in cars and shelter beds. After watching June disappear. After losing everything including things I didn't know I could lose. Settled. Yeah, I said. I guess I am. You ever play anymore? He gestured at the scratch-offs. No. That was my last ticket, that night months ago. The night you won. Different night. Different ticket. He looked confused but didn't push. People had their own relationships with luck. He just sold the possibility. Hey, he said as I was leaving. I heard about your sister. The customers who knew you, we heard. I'm sorry. Thanks, Marco. She was proud of you, you know. You taking care of her. That's what luck really is, having someone who shows up. Luck's finally on my side, I said, echoing that night months ago. He laughed like it was a joke about the lottery. Like I was being ironic. But I wasn't. For the first time in 2 years, luck had nothing to do with money. I drove home to my tiny apartment where June's ashes sat on the one shelf, still in cardboard because I'd rather pay rent than buy an urn. The 2 lottery tickets were in my wallet where they'd stay. The winner that became nothing. The loser that led to help, Lily called. That night. Mom, I got a raise at the bookstore. $5 more an hour. I can help with rent if you need. Keep your money, I told her. Save it. For what? Emergencies. The ones you can't see coming. You're being cryptic. I'm being practical. After we hung up, I made June's terrible coffee in my tiny kitchen. Sat on my floor because I didn't have furniture yet. Held both lottery tickets up to the lamplight. These 2 pieces of paper that told the whole story. .37s that meant $50,000. Blank spaces that meant help was available. Both true. Both incomplete. Both necessary to understand that winning and losing were the same game. and the only real luck was surviving long enough to know the difference. Outside, someone was living in their car in the parking lot. I could tell by the fogged windows. The stuff piled in the back. I wanted to knock, to say it gets better, to offer my shower, my coffee, my couch I didn't have yet. Instead, I tucked both tickets back in my wallet. Tomorrow I'd leave a note with the shelter's address, the financial counseling number, what I wished I'd known sooner. Tonight, I had walls and a door and hot water, and June's voice in my head saying, "See? I told you things would work out." They had, just not how either of us expected. But that was luck too, wasn't it? The patterns we only see looking back, the help that was always there, the winning that comes from losing everything and continuing anyway. The check engine light was on again in the Corolla. $300 to fix, probably. I'd handle it Friday after payday. For now, it was enough to have a bed, a door, a kitchen, and 2 lottery tickets that proved sometimes you had to lose everything to find what you were really looking for. The funeral director was kind, professional, talked about packages and payment plans while June lay somewhere cold, finally not hurting. Base package was $3,000. Cremation was cheaper, just $1,200, but June had wanted burial. Had picked out a spot near Mom years ago, back when death was theoretical. "We can do payments," he said, seeing my face. "How much down?" "Half. $1,500. I had $86. Paid $10 to put gas in the car that morning. $76 to bury my sister. "I'll call you tomorrow," I said. That night, I couldn't go to the hospital parking lot. Couldn't go to Walmart. Couldn't face the rotation of familiar places where I'd worried about June dying. Now she was dead, and I was still in the car, except now I was alone with it. The Shell station looked exactly the same. Same broken price sign. Same duct tape on the door handle. Same bell that rang when you walked in. But Marco wasn't there. Some kid, maybe 19, playing on his phone behind the counter. I parked in the same spot from that Tuesday 2 years ago. Could see myself walking in that morning, tired, check engine light on, $20 in my wallet. The before Sandra. The one who thought winning meant problem solved. Inside, the scratch-off display gleamed under fluorescent lights. Same game. Even. Silver and blue with cherries and sevens. $5 I needed for gas, but I pulled the bill out anyway. "Just one?" the kid asked. "Just one." I sat in my car with the ticket, found a penny in the cup holder. Same penny? Different penny? Didn't matter. Scratched the silver coating off slowly, like maybe if I took my time the universe would remember it owed me something. First row, nothing. Second row, cherry, lemon, bell. Third row, nothing. Of course. Of course nothing. I was about to crumple it up when I noticed the back. Fine print I'd never read on the winner. Never needed to. At the bottom, below, all the legal text about odds. And claiming prizes, 2 phone numbers. Gambling addiction help. Financial counseling services. I laughed. Real, genuine laughter that fogged up my windows. Homeless, grieving, holding a losing ticket in a gas station parking lot. And I was laughing because the help had been printed there all along. On every ticket. Winners and losers both. The financial counseling number had normal business hours. It was 7 p.m., but the gambling helpline was 24/7. I called it just to hear another voice. "This is the problem gambling helpline. How can I help?" "I don't have a gambling problem," I said. I bought a lottery ticket. One ticket." "Okay. Do you want to talk about what made you buy it?" "My sister died today." Silence. Then, "I'm so sorry. That must be incredibly difficult. I won the lottery 2 years ago. 50,000. It's all gone. She's gone. Everything's gone." The counselor listened while I talked. About June. About the money. About sleeping in my car. About the $86 becoming 76, becoming 71 after this stupid ticket. She didn't judge. Didn't offer solutions. Just listened. "The financial counseling line might be more helpful," she said finally. "They open at 8 a.m. But I'm here. All night if you need to talk." McDonald's opened at 5 a.m., but the Wi-Fi worked from the parking lot. I sat in my car with my phone, the losing ticket and the winning ticket both spread on my dashboard. 2 pieces of paper. One worth 50,000 that turned into nothing. One worth nothing that might turn into something. The financial counseling number went to a tired-sounding woman named Denise. Different Denise than the lottery office. "How can I help you today?" "I'm homeless. Living in my car. My sister just died. I need help, but I don't know what kind." "Okay, let's start with where you are. What city? Question by question, she pulled the story out. The lottery win. June's cancer. The money bleeding away into medical bills and lawyers. The car life. The $71. First things first, she said. Shelter. There's a women's shelter on Riverside that allows parking. You can keep your car, sleep inside, have access to facilities. I work. Full-time. I can't, they have. Working resident programs. You keep your job. Pay a small fee when you can. It's not permanent, but it's a start. She gave me numbers for grief counseling, legal aid for June's estate issues, even a program that helped with funeral costs for families in poverty. I won the lottery, I said. I'm not supposed to need this. Honey, half my clients are people who had money once. Inheritance, settlements, windfalls. Money comes and goes. What matters is you're asking for help now. The shelter intake was at 2 p.m. I called Keith, told him I needed the afternoon off. Take the week, he said. Bereavement leave. I can't afford paid leave. You've got 3 days saved up. I didn't know I had any days saved. Never took sick time. Never took vacation. Just worked and worried and waited for things to get better. The shelter looked like a converted office building. 3 stories, beige walls, security door. The intake worker, Marie, had kind eyes and no wedding ring. Parking's in the back, she said. You get a window sticker so security knows you belong. Showers are communal but have curtains. Breakfast at 6, dinner at 6, but you can use the kitchen anytime. How much? Sliding scale based on income. Minimum's $10 a week. Maximum's $50. You pay what you can. $10 a week. $40 a month. I could do that. There's 1 bed left in room 203, Marie said. 2 other women. They're quiet. Work nights mostly. A bed. A real bed. After 6 months of driver's seats and hospital chairs, the words sounded impossible. The grief counselor's name was James. His office was in a Methodist church basement. Free sessions on Tuesdays. I went because I had nowhere else to be and because crying in my car was getting old. Tell me about June, he said, so I did. Not the cancer June or the dying June, but the real June. The one who ran half marathons and made terrible coffee. Who sang off-key to 80s music and taught her kids to dance in the kitchen. Who called me during her divorce and said, I don't know how to be alone. You gave up everything for her, James said. She would have done the same. That doesn't make it easier. Sometimes it makes it harder. The shelter bed was narrow, military surplus probably, but it was flat and still and inside. My roommates were ghosts, gone when I woke, back after I slept. Sometimes I heard crying through the walls. Sometimes laughter. Mostly just the sound of other people existing in small spaces. Marie from intake became Marie from morning coffee. She'd been homeless once too, she told me. Years ago. Domestic violence situation. The first week's the hardest, she said. You keep waiting for someone to tell you to leave. Does that feeling go away? Becomes background noise. Like traffic. I found June's kids at school pickup. Watch from across the street. Emma taller already. David with a new haircut that made him look older. Ron's new girlfriend collecting. Them, looking bored. Don't, Marie said when I told her. Not yet. Get stable first. Then fight. But stable felt impossible. June was supposed to get stable. 6 months, the court said. Revisit in 6 months. She got 2. The funeral assistance program covered cremation. Not burial, but cremation. I signed the papers with hands that shook. Many families choose cremation, the funeral director said. Trying to be kind. It's becoming more common. June had wanted burial. Had picked the plot. But wanting and affording were different things, and June was past wanting anything. The ashes came in a cardboard box. Temporary container, they called it. Until you buy an urn. I kept the box beside my shelter bed, this small weight that used to be my sister. I'm sorry, I told the box every night. For all of it. Keith had the warehouse staff take up a collection. $200 in an envelope with a card everyone signed. So sorry for your loss. Thinking of you. She's in a better place. $200. Enough for a real urn or 2 weeks of shelter fees and food. I paid the shelter, kept June in the cardboard. She'd understand, Marie said. She would. That was the worst part. June would understand all of it. 3 weeks in the shelter, and I'd learned the rules. Shower before 7 a.m. or after 9 p.m. to avoid crowds. Never leave anything valuable in your room. Don't ask about anyone's past. Unless they offer. Share coffee, but not stories until trust builds. My roommates turned out to be Linda and Keisha. Linda, 50s, worked night shift at a nursing home. Keisha, 20s, two jobs, saving for an apartment. We orbited each other carefully, polite, but not friendly. Not yet. Your sister? Keisha asked one night, seeing June's box. Yeah. I'm sorry. That was it. But the next morning, there was a flower on my nightstand. A daisy from the gas station, probably, in a paper cup. No note. Didn't need one. Group meetings were mandatory. Tuesday nights, circle of folding chairs. Stories that sounded like mine but worse. Or better. Depending. I had a house, said a woman named Carol. Paid off. Then my husband got sick. I had savings, said another. Until my son needed rehab. I won the lottery. I finally said one night. 50,000. Spent it all trying to save my sister. She died anyway. Nobody laughed. Nobody judged. Just nods. Understanding. We were all here because we'd chosen love over money, and love hadn't been enough. The shelter kitchen became community. Women cooking meals from food bank donations, sharing recipes for stretching dollars. I learned to make June's terrible coffee because the smell reminded me of her kitchen.